It's Friday, the 12th of May, 2023. Welcome to the Fast Five by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
5 stories in 5 minutes. Let's jump straight into it. Story number 1, Australian lithium miner Allkem has signed a merger deal with New York Stock Exchange listed Livent to create one of the world's biggest lithium miners, Sean.
The $16 billion merger highlights just how hot the lithium sector is, notwithstanding the price of the metal has dropped by 2/3 since late last year. Now, lithium, of course, is used in batteries. They're a crucial component in the greening of the world. Car makers have led the charge, pardon the pun, to do deals with the lithium miners desperate for their output. The deal announced in the US is based on the need for producers to get bigger faster, and the new company will be the 3rd largest producer in the world. It'll have assets in Australia, Argentina, Canada. It'll have a new name, which means Allkem, which until 2021 was called Orocobre, will have its 3rd moniker in just 3 years, and it'll be able to supply the 3 main types of lithium products. One of them goes to batteries. Another one is used in health, mood disorders, that sort of thing. And the third, a thing called lithium hydroxide, is used in salts and fatty acids.
So what do investors think about the deal? Do they like it? Are we going to see more of this?
Yeah, they definitely like it. Allkem's share price jumped 16% yesterday. It's up 50% in the past 6 weeks. The other lithium stocks benefited from the announcement. Lake Resources was higher, Sayona Mining, Core Lithium, Pilbara Minerals, etc. Countries around the world, notably the US through its poorly named but big spending Inflation Reduction Act, are handing out massive incentives to improve green electrification of the economy. The lithium companies, like Allkem, stand to be among the biggest winners. And so, as I said earlier, it's a hot industry.
Yeah, it certainly is. All right, story number 2. Sean, how about this? There's only a 50% chance the Reserve Bank of Australia can reduce inflation below 3% without triggering a recession. This is according to internal research. That research also reveals that the central bank has considered the possibility of the cash rate rising to 4.8%.
Interesting story, this one. The Reserve Bank released a batch of internal documents under Freedom of Information laws yesterday, including a staff modelling exercise from late last year that concluded the probability of a recession by September 2024 could be as high as 65 to 80%, according to a report in the Financial Review. And if there is a recession, it's likely to occur in the next 12 months or so. The Reserve Bank, of course, is trying to lift interest rates enough to get inflation back into its 2 to 3% target range without triggering a big jump in unemployment. It defined a recession a bit differently to normal, though. It defined it as any period where the unemployment rate increases 0.75 percentage points higher than its 12-month minimum. Now, the modelling also said lifting the cash rate to 4.8%, which is about 1 percentage point higher than where it is today, would help the central bank achieve its inflation and unemployment goals more quickly. Mind you, we'd all have to pay a lot more for our home loans.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too good. Sean, story number 3. Trade Minister Don Farrell left for China yesterday afternoon for trade talks, really raising hopes of an end to Chinese bans on Australian exports. That'd be good news.
It would be. Senator Farrell is in Beijing for a 2-day visit, meeting Australian business representatives before a formal economic and trade meeting with the Chinese Trade Minister. He'll co-chair the 16th Joint Ministerial Economic Commission talks today. It's the first time the meeting's been held since 2017. Of course, relations between Beijing and Canberra have been frosty at best. Hopefully this will open the way for the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, to visit China later in the year, and perhaps we'll start doing more business with them.
Sean, story number 4, there was a whole lot of corporate news around yesterday, but I love this particular story because it is all about Westfield. It's about shopping centres.
Which you, of course, don't like visiting too much. Anyway, Westfield shopping centre owner, Scentre Group, reconfirmed its revenue outlook and said that there were 163 million customer visits in the first 17 weeks of the year. Now, that's about 20 million more than last year. Tenants in Westfield shopping centres reported a 14% jump in sales, occupancies at 98.9%. Anyone who suggested shopping centres were dead was wrong. They are alive and thriving.
Final story, story number 5. Luxury home prices, Sean, around the world fell during the March quarter for the first time, would you believe, since the global financial crisis.
An index of prime prices in 46 cities declined 0.4% year over year, the first drop since 2009, according to real estate group Knight Frank. That compares to the 10% growth seen in the fourth quarter of 2021. Now, New Zealand's housing market posted the biggest slump, Wellington, Auckland, Christchurch, they all ended with double-digit falls. Major cities including San Francisco, New York, Los Angeles, Hong Kong and Vancouver also saw prime prices drop. The overall number was down, although the majority of cities tracked actually rose. Dubai led the way. Its prices during the quarter were up 44%. And I'm sure you want to know what it says about Australian cities. Well, the best performer during the quarter was Melbourne, then Gold Coast, Sydney, Perth and Brisbane. They're about midfield all in all.
All right, there we go. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It's Friday, the 12th of May, 2023. Remember to hit follow on the podcast. If 5 minutes isn't enough for you, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed wherever you listen to podcasts. And don't forget as well, the Amazon Echo smart speaker range comes with Alexa built in. Simply say, Alexa, play the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed podcast to catch the latest episode. And you can get yours now at amazon.com.au. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.